Welcome to Hope is Here. My name is Greg Horn, and I know that we have a lot of people that listen that I'll say they are mature in age. I'm 53, so I'm no spring chicken, but we have people from all age ranges, from teenagers that listen, college students, to people in their 90s. And today we want to give hope to people that maybe they're kind of struggling with living at home, but yet they really hate to move into maybe a senior citizen's home. They'd rather stay in the comfort of their home, and they don't need 24-hour-a-day help, but they just need a little bit of help. And today I've got with me Brent Stevens and Mary Brown. They are with Home Instead, which is based here in Lexington, and they are a non-medical in-home service that helps senior citizens remain at home instead of going into a facility. And it was founded in 1994 by Paul and Lori Hogan in Omaha, Nebraska. But the thing I love about them, they're a faith-based company, and one of their main core values is to honor God in all that we do. Brent works with Home Instead, and so does Mary, but Mary's got a really great ministry background and looks at what she does now as a ministry. So first of all, Mary and Brent, just thanks for being here today on this cold day.
Well, thank you for having us. Absolutely. We really appreciate being here.
All right. Well, let's get down to it. Mary, tell us a little bit about your background before you started this position with Home Instead. What did you do before?
Well, I have to start out by saying that I have been a part of ministry my entire life, I guess. My father was a Christian church minister, and then later on went to Kentucky Christian University as public relations director and instructor of Christian ministries. And so I grew up basically understanding the role of ministering to other people. And then I went to college there. I got my bachelor's degree in social work and a degree in Christian education. And following that, then that's what brought me to Lexington as I became the director of Bluegrass Christian Adoption Services. And I worked with that ministry for 24 years, and after we closed, we made a prayerful decision to close our agency in 2010, and I found myself suddenly needing to still be employed. It was the right decision when we made it to close the agency, but the wrong decision for me because I was almost 60 years old and knew that I still needed to work. And during this time, I received so much encouragement from my congregation at Tates Creek Christian, and so much love and support as I struggled to find where God wanted me to be. And I'm not one of those people, or have never been one of those people, that just hear a calling from the Lord. I usually have to be like my dad used to talk about, the farmer and the stubborn mule, where he had to hit the mule between the eyes with a board to get his attention. And I think that's what God always has needed to do with me. But while I was hunting and trying to understand what it was God wanted me to do, I had the opportunity to provide some in-home care for a few weeks for a dear lady in our congregation. And it was during that time that she looked at me one day and said, "Well, why aren't you doing this for a living?" And suddenly I realized, why am I not doing this for a living? Because I love caring and serving other people in ministry, and that's how I eventually came to be employed with Home Instead Senior Care.
Well, I love that story because so many times I've found in my life that God is working. I don't know it, but I did a Bible study by Henry Blackaby called Experiencing God. And both you're shaking your heads maybe you've done that before.
Yes.
But and one of the things I loved about that, I've done it 3 different times over my 53 years of life, probably about 5 to 7 years in between. And But one consistent factor that's been a common theme that God has spoke to me through doing that Bible study is Henry says there's 7 attributes, 7 things that he has seen that we can look to when we're trying to find God and experience God in our lives. And number 1, he just simply says God is always at work around us. But the other thing he says, instead of asking God to bless, what you want to do, look where God's already working and join him in that. And that kind of sounds like what happened in your experience, Mary. Is that an adequate description there?
I think it is. I believe that God, he understands that I need to experience maybe some ups and downs in my life to get me where in the place that he wants me to be in, so that I can see and be receptive to whatever he wants me to do. And I believe that is the way. That's the way it happened in this case, particularly with caregiving, because I would have never thought that would be an avenue that I might be in. And now that I have done so and have been in it for over 7 years now, I can't imagine doing anything else at this particular season of my life.
Well, it's a beautiful story. It's inspirational to me, and I just want to encourage our listeners, if they're listening, sometimes there's something you just do because it's just what you do, and you enjoy it, but you don't realize it's actually something that's a gift from God. And maybe just pay attention, open your spiritual listening ears, as I heard a pastor say one time. And if somebody compliments on something you do well, then maybe that's opportunity for you to meet money, because the fact of the matter is, Mary, I hear a lot of stories of what you say. People that, you get around, used to be around 65, you could retire, but unfortunately with insurance costs, medical costs, just the normal cost of living, that's kind of thrown out the door. And a lot of people are looking maybe not for full-time work, but part-time work. So God's provided, not only are you using things desires that you love to help people, but it's also helping you pay your bills. Is that right?
That's exactly right, because I knew that whatever work that I would go into, that I couldn't just do an assembly line job. I couldn't just do, I would have certainly done that, whatever was necessary for my livelihood. But I knew I would never be content or find that contentment unless I was involved in a work that I would be serving other people.
Well, it's so cool that you get to do that. And Brent, Home Instead has been around serving this community since 2001. Talk a little bit about what you guys actually do.
Sure. And so oftentimes we get calls from adult age, middle age, children of their aging parents, and they're desperate. They're at their wits' end of, mom has dementia, and she wandered outside the house yesterday, and we realized for the first time that we need some help. Or maybe it's dad got up to the middle of the night to use the bathroom and fell on the bathroom floor. Those are calls that we get frequently. And so what we exist to do is to be a resource for the community, and sometimes that's by providing caregiving services. So it can be simple things to, just taking people to go get groceries, or, helping organize mail, helping them kind of just with organization, paying bills, that kind of thing, or assistance with going to the shower assistance, with bathroom assistance, that kind of thing, to just making meals for them so they have something for the next day. So it kind of varies as what we do. And sometimes we're just there to provide resources to, sometimes we're not the best organization to help them. Maybe sometimes they need more care, or guiding them to different community resources that may help pay for care. So it's a really special place to work because you're with people. And similar to Mary, I view every part of your life as a ministry, and working with people, you get at Home Instead, you get to interact with caregivers and clients on a daily basis, and that's one of my favorite parts about this job, is those daily interactions, and just getting to encourage caregivers, but also being able to provide them with caregivers that provide our clients with caregivers that can help support them in their lives and provide some peace of mind for their family.
Well, I just think it's so cool what you guys do because we want to provide hope on Hope is Here, and we're all going to get into that age at some point if we're fortunate enough where we may need some help, and there may be somebody that's overwhelmed right now because of an aging parent, or maybe you're already at that point yourself and you don't need to have full-time 24-hour-a-day assistance, but you could just use some help with some of those basic things like Brent shared. And one of the things I like, Brent, is the flexibility. It could be 24-hour-a-day, 7-day care, or it could be maybe even just for the weekend if somebody needs to go out of town to go visit somebody out of state, family member, business, whatever. You guys do just weekend care too. Is that correct?
That's right. So we just do weekend care. For some people, we're just there once a week. Just kind of helping get them prepared for the week, or just kind of helping them out with their medication for the week or something like that. So whatever our clients would need, we try to meet that need.
Well, that's great. If you've just tuned in, we're talking with Brent Stevens and Mary Brown. They are with a wonderful organization in our community called Home Instead. If you want to find out more information about them, you can check them out online at homeinstead.com. One of their founders, Lori Hogan, has actually written several devotional books for caregivers. And so if you're a caregiver and you need to be encouraged, because, man, that's a thankless job, maybe you ought to Google her name, Lori Hogan, and find some resources there if you're a caregiver. Also, she's been a featured writer in Guidepost magazine, and man, I can remember my mom, my grandparents having that growing up. I mean, that's kind of been a staple for a long time, hadn't it, Mary?
Oh, yes. Guidepost magazine and the Ideals magazines that had Christian poetry that came out of Guidepost. I grew up with that. Mother had a subscription to those for years, and they were just a blessing. And I always encourage that to other folk too, that if they're hunting for something like that will be an encouragement to them, it will be the Guidepost magazines.
I understand. Well, one of the things that I know is that we're all getting older, and in fact, statistics bear that a lot of times people may need some caregiving help. Brent, you've got some information there.
Yeah, so some stats from the Institute on Aging. So the current stats, someone turning age 65 today has almost a 70% chance of needing some type of long-term care services. So that includes services in the home, potential assisted living or memory care, going into a community, or maybe needing a rehab facility if you have a broken hip, that kind of thing. So there's definitely most people will end up requiring some type of services in their lifetime. But a lot of those could be preventable by just that attention at home. Small things like, we have a lot of people going to hospitalized because of medication mismanagement. They just didn't take their medication, or they took the wrong medication at the wrong time, or just poor nutrition. They're just not getting enough good meals in them, not drinking enough, they're dehydrated. And so a lot of hospitalizations are preventable, and that's something that home care can help us. It won't fully eliminate, but it can help assist with reducing hospitalizations.
Well, kind of be proactive instead of reactive is what I kind of hear you saying. So if you just tuned in, we've been talking with Brent Stevens and Mary Brown with Home Instead. It's a organizational here based in Lexington. They also help throughout central Kentucky, provide great help for those people. They provide care in Winchester, Paris, Richmond, and Nicholasville. And the great thing I like is they will provide a free consultation just to meet with you and your family to determine maybe what type of care you might need, or maybe you don't. I love that Brent said, sometimes maybe we're not the solution, but we know other resources we can refer you to. So we're going to continue our conversation with them tomorrow about caregiving, as I know we have a lot of people that listen that are doing that with parents. So I hope you'll tune in tomorrow as we continue our conversation with Brent Stevens and Mary Brown from Homestead on Hope is Here.
The signs of an aging parent can be overwhelming, but at Home Instead Senior Care, we understand the struggle of caring for an aging loved one. What was once simple, like making a cup of hot tea or getting the mail, isn't so simple for them anymore. It's why we offer everything from individualized help around the house to advanced Alzheimer's care to keep them safe and sound at home instead of anywhere else. Take the first step and call us anytime at 859-273-0085 or visit us at homeinstead.com/312. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.